Edmund Kemper was born in 1948 in Burbank, California, and grew up in a volatile, abusive household. His parents divorced early, and he was raised mostly by his mother, Clarnell Strandberg, a domineering and verbally abusive woman who demeaned him constantly and likely planted the deep psychological wounds that would later erupt into violence. From childhood, Kemper exhibited disturbing behavior. He dismembered dolls, decapitated cats, and developed fantasies of murder and domination. At 15, after being sent to live with his paternal grandparents in rural North Fork, California, he committed his first murders. On August 27, 1964, he shot his grandmother in the kitchen with a .22 rifle and then killed his grandfather when he returned from grocery shopping. He later told authorities he killed his grandmother to see what it felt like and his grandfather to spare him from seeing what he'd done. Following the murders, Kemper was arrested and sent to Atascadero State Hospital for the criminally insane. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, but was highly intelligent and manipulative. He learned how to mimic sanity from his experiences in the hospital, even assisting doctors with psychological tests. After less than 5 years, he was released at the age of 21, despite protests from hospital staff. He was released into the custody of his mother, the very person who had been the source of much of his emotional torment. From 1969 to 1972, Kemper lived a quiet life in Santa Cruz, California. He tried unsuccessfully to join the police force, but instead began hanging around local law enforcement, earning the nickname Big Ed. Underneath this facade, his violent urges festered. Between May 1972 and April 1973, he embarked on a killing spree targeting young women, many of whom were hitchhiking college students. On May 7, 1972, he picked up Marianne Pesce and Anita Lucchesa, both 18-year-old students hitchhiking from Fresno State. He drove them into a secluded area where he handcuffed Pesce and locked Lucchesa in the trunk. He strangled Pesce, then stabbed Lucchesa. He took their bodies back to his mother's home, where he photographed and dismembered them. He buried body parts in the yard and flushed others down the toilet. On September 14, 1972, he picked up 15-year-old Aiko Ku, a ballet dancer on her way to a dance class. After gaining her trust, he pulled a gun on her, eventually suffocating her. He again took the body to his mother's house for dismemberment and necrophilic acts. On January 7, 1973, he picked up 19-year-old Cynthia Schall, shot her, and brought her body to his home. He again engaged in necrophilia and dismemberment, discarding her body off a cliff near the coast. A month later, on February 5, 1973, he picked up Rosalind Thorpe and Alice Liu, students at the University of California, Santa Cruz. He shot both in the car and brought them home for his usual ritual of mutilation and sexual violation of their corpses. Throughout this spree, Kemper avoided suspicion. His knowledge of police procedure, combined with his calculated behavior, helped him remain under the radar. He knew how and when to dispose of bodies, often taking care to avoid forensic traces. But the internal pressure was building, and he began fantasizing about the murder he had truly longed for, his mother. On April 20, 1973, after a night of drinking and resentment, he waited until his mother was asleep, then bludgeoned her with a hammer and slit her throat. He decapitated her, used her head for sexual acts, and attempted to silence her forever by mutilating her vocal cords. After killing her, he called her friend, Sarah Sally Hallett, invited her over, and strangled her as well. He left both bodies in the house, fled to Colorado, and after a few days of traveling in torment, called police in Santa Cruz from a payphone and calmly confessed. Initially, authorities thought it was a prank. He gave specific details about the murders and directed them to his mother's house, where they found the 2 bodies. He then confessed to all the co-ed killings in horrifying detail. He waived his right to counsel and cooperated completely. He described how he would talk to the severed heads of his victims, engage in necrophilia, and relive the murders through photographs and memories. He said he killed his mother to stop the rage and torment that had driven him since childhood. Kemper was charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder. He attempted an insanity plea, but several psychiatric evaluations concluded he was legally sane. The trial began in October 1973. The jury heard not only his confession, but also the psychological background that fueled his crimes. He spoke with chilling detachment, sometimes apologizing but never appearing emotional. On November 8, 1973, he was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to 7 consecutive life terms. He was sent to California Medical Facility in Vacaville, where he remains incarcerated. He has been cooperative in many psychological studies and FBI profiling efforts. He has granted interviews to criminologists and journalists, speaking candidly about his crimes, the psychology behind them, and the disturbing satisfaction they gave him. He has been eligible for parole multiple times, but has always been denied. At one hearing, he requested not to be considered again. He has referred to himself as a walking time bomb and claimed to feel remorse, though his tone and past behavior have led many to doubt the depth of his regret. Kemper's crimes are among the most disturbing in U.S. history, not only for their brutality, but also for the killer's intelligence, emotional detachment, and psychological insight. His cooperation with law enforcement helped shape the FBI's early profiling efforts, and his case has become a cornerstone example in the study of sexual sadism, maternal rage, and organized serial killers.